All right, folks. Well, you're in for a treat today here from the muddy banks of the North Saskatchewan River right here in Prince Albert. Do You Know Jack Radio? And my guest today is none other than Tesla's Jeff Keith. Jeff, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Jack. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. I mean, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you on the line today. I mean, of course, I would imagine you guys have quite a long and storied history with Canada just in general, eh? I mean, I'm thinking in particular, I mean, you covered a song by Five-Man Electrical Band.
That's right. Les Emerson, that's right. And actually, we got to jam that with him. I think it was in 2005 or something. We were doing an acoustic set that we were going to Canada with, and he got up there, I think somewhere in like in Ontario or something, and it was great.
Yeah. Well, now, I mean, I'm sure you guys have been asked this question a zillion billion times over the years, but I mean, I would imagine that the choice of the song was probably culturally appropriate, but also I would imagine you guys were big fans of the band, eh?
Absolutely. And so when we were out with Motley Crue in 1990, and we had a couple nights off in a row, we decided to see if we could find some clubs that would let us come play some, acoustic set instead of sitting in a hotel room. And so we all picked a song. I was familiar with the song back growing up in Oklahoma, and had heard it on the radio.
Of course.
In 1970, 71, 72. And so when we all picked a song, and I said, I'd like to do a song called Signs. And the band was like, well, we've never heard it. Give us a copy of it. And back then, to get a copy of it in the 90s, it's not as easy as to just Google for a song today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somebody got it for me on a 45 little single record. And so we learned the song, and bam, and things, tones are blowing off the hook. And then we got a whole night of it that we had recorded in Philadelphia, and one of the biggest records we've made yet to date. It all started with, having fun, keeping it raw, and the song Signs.
Yeah.
Some, all that attention.
Well, of course, I don't want to fixate too much on Five-Man Electrical Band, but I mean, at the time, given the fact that the song ended up doing so well for you, and given how, labels often tend to, like to, strike hard in the same place twice. I mean, did you get any pressure from the label to do any kind of acoustic follow-up with a song like Absolutely Right, for instance?
No. I mean, we just, it was sort of an accident waiting to happen, and it went really great, and people love it, and we as a band love it because it's raw from start to finish, but never really tried to do a follow-up, thing, and that's when MTV, it started with the Unplugged thing anyway, so
yeah.
We did, went to MTV Studio and did that kind of stuff, and we were doing it with a bunch of other bands, so
right.
a lot of people say it kind of opened the door, but they had already just started that stuff, and we just happened to do a whole night of it.
Yeah. For sure. Well, and I mean, of course, I think the big news that's just in the process of breaking just maybe in the last couple of weeks is you guys were up at Abbey Road Studios sort of recording a bit of a 30th anniversary follow-up to the original Five-Man Acoustical Jam. Am I right?
That's right. And that was very cool. And so that kind of had, the idea of maybe, as a matter of fact, we went back and revisited some of those acoustic songs from Five-Man Acoustical Jam, like Signs and 5 or 6 other songs, and then added in some of the new songs that we did with Phil Collen on the new record Shock.
Yeah.
And so that was fun doing it acoustically, and it was great just to be in the walls, in the studio of one of the Beatles and a lot of other great bands.
Yeah, didn't Pink Floyd record there?
They did. Pink Floyd on top of a whole lot of other bands. I don't want to start naming them like the Who and all that stuff and get it wrong, but
yeah,
a lot of bands. But of course, the first band that comes to thought for myself is the Beatles.
Right.
I mean, with the record Abbey Road. I mean, just it was just awesome and magical, and we had fun with it, and we recorded it, and I believe it's going to be released as a live record to celebrate the 30-year anniversary of Man Acoustical Jam.
That's amazing. I mean, were you just in the right place at the right time to snatch up Abbey Road? Because I'm sure there's probably a giant lineup of bands waiting to get in there.
I've heard that, yeah. So we got really lucky and things worked out well, and we had a great time, and it was a blast. And hopefully, on the record that we release, it'll have that vibe, and
yeah,
and people are going to pick up on it and enjoy it as well.
Well, you mentioned the the album of the same name, Abbey Road. Of course, I mean, is that your go-to Beatles album, and what's your go-to Beatles song?
Man, geez, with the Beatles, that's a tough one. They got so many. It's like picking your favorite Led Zeppelin song or Rolling Stones. I mean, she came in through the bathroom window.
That's a great one.
I mean, yeah, I love that one. I just love the way it comes in. Oh, look out! But there's so many great ones, man. I don't want to say that one and go, well, what about this one? So
yeah,
just the record and the Let It Be record. Oh, I believe a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
When I understand the White Album was done there, a lot of records were done there. So, I mean, just to be within those walls was like, wow.
No doubt.
How great is this?
Well, now, just pivoting a little bit, I mean, you did mention Shock. Of course, it was released March 8th, and I think, is the initial shock, pardon the pun, of the record release and the slight change in direction and sound, I mean, does that seem to be subsiding? Because I know a lot of hardcore Tesla fans were just like, oh, I listened to it once and I'm done. I mean, what's the response now that the record has had a chance to simmer a little bit?
The record, I think the response is going great by all of our hardcore fan base. And, there's a lot of other people that are discovering us from that and the attention that it's getting, and it's on the charts and classic rock and all the stuff, and getting a lot of this attention. Yeah. And that's what Phil Collen came in to help us do, was to produce the record. Song-wise, he helped us co-write a lot of it and producing it, and sonically, and those were all things that we were set out to achieve, and he helped us achieve it, and it's getting a great response. And it wasn't the name Shock, as far as I know, wasn't to say like, hey, we're doing this new record and this whole new approach. We're doing it with Phil Collen producing it. Wasn't the idea of, so we're going to shock you with it. I think Shock has more to tie in with the Tesla, and electricity.
Right.
And that's where I believe the shot time is. But what do I know? I'm just the guy that hand the microphone.
Well, then that's not such a bad gig in and of itself.
No, hey, man, it's a great place to be, and we're really excited. And in this day and age, a lot of things are done a lot differently with the social media, the way people are downloading things rather than as opposed to 20 years ago, you make a record, and so things are done a lot differently, and Phil helped us achieve all those things, and he's a great guy, man. He's a great artist at what he does, and we had a blast doing it, and we're happy with it. And like I said, our fans are happy with it. They're going great, and they understand we try to do things differently, but we still stay true to ourselves,
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say now, I'm under the impression with this record, were you guys considering maybe not releasing a record of new material? I mean, am I getting that vibe? And Phil kind of, convinced you otherwise?
Well, I think he recognized all that kind of stuff. But, like the last 2 or 3 records that we've released, like Simplicity, we had a blast putting it together, writing it, recording it, and basically, producing it ourselves and those kind of things. But it doesn't get the attention that this new Shock. Phil helped us sonically get this sound and how to approach songs with more of a, like, let's put something to it and let's really, make this big effort, which we not to say that we didn't make those kind of efforts with something like Simplicity, but we put it out, and immediately as it comes out, it just doesn't get the attention like a big record that we made, and the great sound and the great songwriting. Not that, I love a lot of that Simplicity stuff, but it just didn't get the attention that this new record, Shock, gets. So, and that was, what we wanted to try to do, and Phil, we achieved it, and with much thanks to Phil Collen.
Yeah.
He helped us do that. We couldn't do that without him.
Now, was your songwriting process in and of itself a little bit different, given the fact that you guys were sort of darting in and out of various tour dates?
Well, we definitely took a different approach to it, and we followed, and Phil helped co-write a lot of it, so we definitely followed his lead. He's been in the business for a long time and done very well, and so we believed in him, and he asked us to follow his lead, and we did. And like I said, still staying true to ourselves, and really enjoyed the process of trying things differently.
Yeah.
But I don't think we had in mind that, we're going to be touring Canada, and that, the following year I can release it, and those kind of things. They're like our big brothers, They had taken us under their wings since the Hysteria tour in '87,
right?
'88. Yeah, so we've always been close. And from what I understand, Phil said, "Hey, I'd like to, if you guys are interested, I'd like to produce a record with you guys and help you get it like sonically and writing the songs and trying to get things, setting the bar much higher than what we might usually do and just putting out a record like Simplicity."
Yeah.
And he helped us achieve it, and it's getting all this attention, and everything's going great.
Yeah.
We're really excited. We're very grateful.
Yeah. Well, now I keep hearing the word sonically come up. What did Phil bring to the table specifically to give it that sound, energy, and vibe, do you think?
Well, first of all, he knows, the difference between us just putting something out on our own. We could settle for something a lot easier. If it's just between us guys in Tesla, we'll go, "Hey, we like the song, we love the way it's going," and boom, there you go, that's great, let's record it. Well, he knows all the ins and outs of everything. And, he's worked with Mutt Lange, and everything that Def Leppard's put out has been such fantastic and phenomenal stuff. And he helped us achieve something that we might not even look at it as, we didn't see it as, we're not sonically, hitting the mark with that's the sonics of the sound. I don't know much about the sonics. I heard that term, but definitely helped us sonically reach a level that we would just say that's good enough before we ever could get close to it. And that's what's saying that we don't know. I think not to take anything away from the band Tesla, but Brian Wheat and Frank Hannon, they're really good with that stuff, and I think they sonically achieve some things. But when you get somebody that knows as much as Phil Collen, they know how to not just go, "That's good enough." It's like, no, you gotta work at it here and build it more here and take it higher here. That's what I understand about sonic. Once again, I'm a guy to hand a microphone to. I wouldn't know if something, the sonics, if anything, for nothing. I'm like I said, they're still handing me the mic, so I'm happy about that. And but Phil knows those kind of things, and the other guys know those kind of things, and they realize that Phil's helping us reach this mark that he helped us reach.
Yeah. Well, now in my own talkings with Phil, I know when they worked with Mutt on those classic albums, a big part of what Mutt did was really work with the band on layering the vocals to give that sort of classic Def Leppard sound and feel. How did Phil, as a producer, work with you personally on your own vocals, Jeff?
Well, I think the whole idea was, hey, let's Phil has asked us to do this record, and we've agreed to do it, and we're going to follow his lead. So it's just flat out, we followed his lead, and he had melodies worked out and lyrics. And usually that's not the usual Tesla approach, but usually, you know, we put out the last few records, and it's right about the time it's put out, before you know it, it's not doing much, but our fans are loving it, you know, so that was good enough for us. So now this record's getting all this attention, and it's reaching all, up, going up on these charts. So it was a great experience to follow Phil's lead, and that's exactly what we set out to do.
Yeah.
And so it was definitely a different approach.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it was great for growing and learning and learning a new approach and following Phil's lead. And we believed in him, and he believed in us, and that was the main thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, now I know we talked a little bit about the 30th anniversary, acoustic thing you guys got going on, but, in the future when you release another studio record, I mean, are you guys going to sort of carry forward with some of this approach and knowledge that you've got from Phil Collen, do you think? We definitely learned some things from it, and a lot of things from it. But, right now we're still just working this record. It's still fresh, and we're going, still touring on it. Yeah. And so, to think about what we're going to do on the next record, Tesla's the kind of band, I don't think we're thinking about that right now. That's fair.
We're just, in the middle of this new record we did with Phil Collen. Things are getting all this great attention. The fans are loving it, which is always a great thing, because when you put out a record, you always want your fans to go, we love it. Yeah. And they're loving it. We're getting some new fans that are coming on board. And so to think about the next record, I think we're just really embracing being right smack dab in the middle with this new record shot. And let's just go out and have fun with that and work it. And not think about on down the road at this point, just embrace being here in the moment with this great record. Yeah,
well, I mean, it is a very enjoyable listen for sure, just front to back. I've definitely dug the vibe you guys are putting forward. Of course, you've got a track on here, California Summer Song, which, for all intent and purpose, I mean, this is sounding like a song that you really want to kick back and just enjoy the summer too. So I'm glad you guys have got that on there, and that the record has come out in a timely fashion. And of course, you guys are going to get out on tour, do a full coast to coast Canadian tour, I think starting July 12th in Halifax. That is incredible.
That's awesome, man, and just right in the middle of summer, and that's what the song is about, take you back to those times that are just like those memories that you relive every time you hear a song, and it's got it's California Summer Song. It's definitely got that summer vibe, and it's going to be fun going from coast to coast.
Yeah,
up in Canada, right in the middle of summer with playing the songs like California Summer Song. Looking forward to it, man. Can't wait.
Well, now I know that Def Leppard always talks fondly about their Canadian fan base. I mean, does Tesla have a storied history with the country as well to speak of?
Canada's always been a great crowd for us, and they're just a great crowd, period, and for the rock world. And they just got, they appreciate a good concert, a good time, great atmosphere, but just one that stands out. I mean, there's so many of them. Saddledome. I mean, and like I said, when we were in 2005, when we played with Les Emerson, and having him come up and sing "Signs" with us on stage. I mean, there's so many great memories. Just to pick out one, I'm not so good with. I just specifically remember this gig or that gig, but. All right, man. We're really excited to be coming up Canada, especially with our big brothers, Def Leppard, and looking forward to it. And it's going to be a memorable tour.
For sure.
Coming up, starting later on this week.
Yeah, and of course, me living in that Saskatoon area, I'm really looking forward to the SaskHill Center, July 27th. I mean, it's nice that Def Leppard in general every now and again does that full slate of Canadian dates, and that, you guys and Def Leppard can get out to places like Saskatoon and Halifax, because usually when you look at, quote unquote, larger scale bands, they're always skipping over the prairies. It's always, Canada to most people, or most bands, might be Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, and then everybody else kind of gets the short end of the stick,
Right. I understand what you're saying. Oh, no, this is full blown from the East Coast to the West Coast. And, it's going to be a blast.
Well, listen, man, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but, I do know that you talk very fondly about how much fun you're having, and of course, the fans. I mean, is it the fans really that keep you going and keep you inspired and keep you guys soaring to new heights? I mean, I guess that's an obvious question, but...
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and within ourselves, Tesla's the band. We have fun. We're having fun up there on stage, and the audience is having a great time, and it's full circle, and we're all feeding off of each other, and it's a fantastic atmosphere, and but I got to tell you, for Tesla, it's that we're brothers and we're having fun, and we're up there doing what we love to do the most, and that's playing music and performing live, and the fans are still loving it. We're still loving it. So as long as we're all still having fun, we're going to do it for as long as we can. And the day we're not having fun is the day you won't see us coming through town. Because what's the use if we're not having fun?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. I mean, I think about that movie that came out many years ago, Mr. Holland's Opus, where he has that gal, he's trying to get her to play a note on the clarinet, and he says, music is supposed to be fun, and I think maybe sometimes we take ourselves a little bit too seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't like to take ourselves too seriously, for sure. We like to have that fun atmosphere. But at the same time, we're still pouring it out from our hearts, so...
Right.
We're having fun with it, but it's still coming from within. And as long as all those things are still in the mix, we're going to continue touring.
Right on. Well, with that, Jeff, thanks a lot for being on Do You Know Jack today. I really appreciate your time, man. It's been a pleasure and an honor getting a chance to spend a few minutes with you.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate your time as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. We'll be seeing you on the 27th.
Yep. 27th Sasktel Center.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Right on. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jack.